Today we're talking about mastering contract risk analysis with AI. In a world where legal risks are everywhere, our goal is to help you be proactive, accurate, and secure. This is Vikas, and you're watching the Botminds case study and demo series. Botminds is a decision intelligence platform to build customized solutions rapidly for the enterprise. Here is the problem. Organizations are struggling to find hidden risks buried deep within their contracts. Traditional reviews are slow, prone to mistakes, and inconsistent. And that's leaving businesses exposed to legal risks, financial loss, and inefficiencies. Let's dive to the real challenges legal teams face in contract risk analysis. The overwhelm of volume and time. Imagine your desk piled high with contracts, each demanding careful review. Legal teams are drowning in paperwork, racing against tight deadline. It's not just about reading, it's about understanding every nuance, and the clock is always ticking. Consistency across jurisdictions. In our global business world, ensuring uniform applications of legal standards is like navigating a complex maze. A perfectly acceptable clause in New York might raise red flags in Tokyo. How do we maintain consistency when the legal landscape keeps shifting beneath our feet? The risk ownership angle. Here is a familiar scenario. A critical risk is identified, but who's responsible for managing it? In many organizations, risk ownership is a game of hot potato. When everyone's responsible, the harsh reality is no one truly is, leaving companies exposed to potentially devastating liabilities. Cultural and legal labyrinths. Contract language isn't just about law, it's about culture too. A straightforward term in one country could be offensive or misinterpreted in another. Legal teams must be cultural chameleons, adapting to local nuances while maintaining the contract's core intent. Finding needles in the contract haystacks. In the vast sea of legalese, contract risks often hide in plain sight. It's not enough to spot them, we need to prioritize them too. But how do you quickly identify what's truly important when you're dealing with hundreds of pages and countless clauses? Let's continue with the remaining challenges that keep legal teams up at night. Guarding the crown jewels. Contracts are treasure troves of sensitive information. In an age where data breaches make headlines, how do we balance the need for accessibility with rock-solid security? It's like trying to build a fortress with revolving doors. The one-size-fits-none dilemma. Every industry, every company has a unique legal dialect. Off-the-shelf solutions often fall short. A tool that works perfectly for tech contracts might be useless for construction agreements. We need solutions as flexible as the contracts they are analyzing. The integration puzzle. Bringing in a tool is like adding new player to a well-oiled sports team. It needs to seamlessly fit into the existing workflow, but many legal tech stacks are patchwork of systems. How do we ensure our new solution doesn't just add to the chaos, and it's not just a band-aid but a transformation? Scaling the unscalable. As businesses grow, so does the contract load. A system that works beautifully for 100 contracts a month might crumble under the weight of 1,000. The challenge is finding a solution that grows with you without needing a proportional growth in your team or budget. Let's dive into the real-world impacts of outdated contract risk analysis. The human cost. Picture your sharp legal minds, once soaring eagles, now reduced to exhausted pigeons. Manual processes aren't just inefficient, they're a fast track to burnout. We're not just losing time, we're losing our best talent to mind-numbing tasks. The money pit. Inefficiency isn't just annoying, it's expensive. Every manual review, every overlooked clause, every delayed approval, they're all dollar bills floating away like expensive confetti. And in today's market, that's a luxury we can't afford. The risk roulette. Without standardized processes, every contract becomes a game of chance. Will this be the one with a hidden clause that costs us millions? In this legal casino, the house doesn't always win, but the lawyers always lose sleep. The data ticking time bomb. In the age of data breaches, oops becomes a very, very expensive word. Weak data protection isn't just vulnerability, it's an invitation to cybercriminals, and the RSVP could just cost us our reputation and our shirt. The one-size-fits-none trap. Trying to apply generic analysis to specific contracts is like squeezing square pegs into round holes. It doesn't work, it wastes time, and it leaves us exposed to risks we didn't even see coming. The workflow traffic jam. Poor system integration isn't just a hiccup. It's a full-blown traffic jam where contracts go gather dust, and in business, time isn't just money, it's an opportunity slipping through our fingers. The growth ceiling. Here's the irony. Our success becomes our biggest problem. As we grow, our contract volume explodes, and our methods crumble under the weight. It's like trying to bail out a yacht with a teaspoon. We are just one big contract away from sinking. Let's take a closer look at the Botminds AI platform and how it works. We have our AI connectors. This is where we centralize knowledge by integrating vast amounts of data, whether it's PDF, text, audio, or images. Our platform seamlessly ingests millions of unstructured data points using over 100 AI connectors. This means no matter where your contract data comes from, Botminds AI can bring it all together in one place for you to work with. Next is our AI engine. We use generative AI to accelerate the entire data processing pipeline. This allows you to handle massive amount of information quickly. Then we have agentic AI, which automates workflows so tasks like risk identification and compliance checks happen automatically in the background. This is what keeps your contract review process moving swiftly and efficiently without the need for manual intervention. Now let's focus on the capabilities of the platform and how they are tailored for legal contract analysis. Data capture agents. These agents pull insight from your unstructured contract data, whether it's a PDF or an email or an image, pre or post. They automatically extract key clauses, obligations, and terms so your team doesn't have to sit through contracts manually. Agentic workflow. Think of this as your automated assistant. These workflows re-engineer how your contracts are processed, automating everything from risk scoring to notifications, so nothing gets missed. It keeps your team focused on strategy, not paperwork. AI search. Need to find a specific clause or risk factor across thousands of contracts? AI search empowers you to quickly locate what you need with precision and speed. This is especially crucial when managing large volumes of contract with complex legal language. Conversational AI. Imagine being able to ask questions about your contracts and getting instant answers. With conversational AI, you can query the system in plain language. Show me high-risk clauses, and it responds right away. This saves you time and helps you make decisions faster and does not have any learning curve. AI analytics and dashboard. This gives you a centralized view of all the contract risks. It's not just about data, it's about seeing the big picture. You can monitor risks in real time, track compliance, and get actionable insights to mitigate potential issues before they escalate. We all know that in reality, the entire legal compliance system essentially works with a combination of Outlook and Word. But it is extremely difficult to manage and find out who is currently working on what part of a particular contract. That's where the AI analytics and dashboard actually comes in handy. And AI agents, these act as your virtual legal assistants, performing complex tasks autonomously, from conducting deep risk analysis to flagging non-standard clauses. AI agents help to ensure every contract is thoroughly reviewed with no critical detail overlooked. And AI agents work hand in hand with the agentic workflow. Let's take a look at the platform now. What you see on the screen is the Botminds platform with the legal risk analysis solution. We are at the analytics tab, where you can see the variety of different contracts and different processes. Keep in mind, this is all sample data. The PII has been purged off. So in here, you have the ability to see how many contracts, number of contracts in process, ready for review, contracts ready to share, etc. And once again, all of these things can be changed and added. Now, within this, let's take a look at the workflow now. Once this contract comes in, all these sections are identified and the respective teams are notified. The second thing that it does is not everybody gets the entire contract. You have the ability to simply send only the procurement section to the procurement team, and they only look at that small section. So that's what this notification is doing. And then the team, of course, respective team does the review. Once the review is done, then it comes back to the legal team. Legal team is the main repository holder here. And of course, all these notifications are part of the platform. They are mentioned. You can configure the notifications to be done via email, via Messenger, via Teams, or any other way in which you're currently used to doing it or would like to go ahead and do that. In addition to this, you can see the other details in terms of the key data and you have the contracts which are in different stages. And these are the stages which are defined above, and you can see the number of contracts which exist here. Of course, you can navigate through with these, links as well. When we go to the graphical view, you can see more details. Once again, this is all the sample data. And you have the ability to find out how many contracts per region you're looking at, sales, or you're looking at what is the value of the contracts, renewal timeline, contract by agreement. Of course, each and everything here is dynamic and flexible and customizable to what you want to see as part of the dashboard. Once we get into the risk analysis, let's take a look at the contracts that we have at hand. We now have 3 sample contracts here, and these are currently in the contract received stage. Now we have defined as part of this, there are multiple stages. We are at the contract received stage. The legal will start the review, and of course, the legal will finish the review as well as a completion. And then the business team will get the notification and so on and so forth. So once you go in the particular contract, you would see that you have the original contract on the right side, and then you have the activity that the legal paralegal team is expected to do. The very first thing is identification or the classification of the contract. Second part of that is identification of the key clauses. Now, the way this works is that there are certain inbuilt mechanisms which are available where we understand which clause is a high risk clause, which clause is not high risk. But the right way to configure this would be to understand, based on your classification, what type of clause or what type of language should be considered at high risk and low risk. Of course, it leverages the capability that comes in with the large language model. So that intelligence you're getting, but customizing that to your organization's requirement, that's where the fine tuning comes in. Otherwise, you could just open open LLM and start sending the information there and hope that it'll give you the answer that the paralegal team is doing, which typically does not happen. And that's where a Botminds platform comes into play. So here you have the confidential information. You can, of course, look at the fact on where that information is. That's the very first part. Then you also have the identification of the risk, whether it's high or low. This is where we map the information with the knowledge base, and we track that and we compare the information that we have found here. And then that is what decides the risk level there. It also, there's an element of knowledge base that I'm referring to is previous contracts with the information, signed contracts. And the more contracts you have in repository, the better the prediction of the model really is. So you have confidential information, then you of course have a comment that is made by the platform. This is generated comment, which simply says that incomplete or unclear identification of what constitutes confidential information and so on and so forth. So with every single part, every single clause that is identified, it will be ranked in terms of high or low, and then you will have a comment that is mentioned there. Once again, what should the comment say is all customizable. Do you want the comment to rephrase or paraphrase the information that is captured, summarize that, give you a recommendation of what should be the right, clause there? All of that can be configured. Right now, we are explaining why it is high. Acts of representativeness, again, high. The comment simply says representativeness, example, employees' contracts might not fully adhere to confidentiality, and so on and so forth. So you have all of these specific clauses which are identified, and the risk level is mentioned here: high, low, medium, and so on and so forth. Once again, you can define what kind of clauses are important to your organization. Like we saw during the presentation, something that works in one region may not work on the other, may not be required on the other. Something that works in one industry, let's say technology, may not be applicable for construction. So all of these things is where the fine tuning comes into play. Second part comes in with the key data. Now you want to be able to find out the key pieces of information. So here you have the company name, you have the address, effective date, customer details, and so on and so forth. And likewise, you can define what other information you would like to capture. Similar to that, you have an overview, and then you have a summary. This is a summary that is gathered on the basis of the NDA, which is a 6-page NDA that we see on the right side. Of course, you have the ability with conversational AI to generate your own summary, but this information is readily available to you at any given point of time you open a new contract. So if I move to the next contract, I have a summary that is ready for me. I move to my third contract, I have a summary that is ready for me, right? So I have all that information that is readily available. Let's enable the conversational AI. Here, I have the contract AI that's already enabled, and I have a new conversation which is available here. I can go ahead and write a question, or I can go ahead and talk to it. Let's go ahead and talk to it for a while. Summarize this contract. And what I'm looking at and what I'm expecting here is for it to go ahead and summarize on the basis of the instructions that have been provided. And I'm getting the details that this contract is between XYZ and ABC Corporation. I can see that on the right side. And then I have all the key points that are included, point number 1 to point number 11. And this agreement has been signed. And I can ask multiple questions around here. What is the date of execution? Date of execution is January 8th, 2023. Let's keep going. Identify the risks in this agreement. Here I have all the risks which are identified in this agreement. And, I have the details mentioned over here. Of course, you have a reference to see exactly where this information came from. You can look through that and you can get to that information as well. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to switch over to the different contract. Right, so we have a new contract here. Tell me the construct of this NDA. So I have the details coming in from this NDA to say this is the introduction, definition, license granted, terms, and so on and so forth. And as always, I have a reference on where this information, which page this information is coming from. I can continue to go ahead and ask it to generate certain specific things, but let's go ahead and see that. So I have the details. It says a confidentiality obligation, there's a compelled disclosure obligation, return of confidential information, retention of certain information, and so on and so forth. And once again, you have the reference of the pages which are available there. What are the terms for termination? The terms are in respect for this recipient obligation, respect to disclosure, survival in full force. And that's fine. I've been speaking to it. Let's hear it talk back.
1. The agreement and recipient's obligations in respect of all confidential information of disclosure shall remain in effect unless terminated by the parties due to force majeure. 2. Recipient's obligations in respect of disclosure's trade secrets shall survive in full force.
Let's keep going. Summarize the rights demanded in this agreement. So what you're seeing is happening in a single document, right? So I'm looking only at a specific place where the information is available, and I'm continuing to ask the question. I keep moving between one document to the other, one contract to the other. But you have the ability, you remember from the presentation, we had the conversational AI and a search AI. So a conversational AI can be done both with a document or with the entire repository. So let's go ahead and look at the entire repository to see what information we can gather from there. What we're going to do now to be able to talk to the entire repository is, of course, we have three contracts here. I'm going to go ahead with chat. And here I have my contract AI enabled. And I'm going to go ahead and start asking certain specific questions, which is meant for the entire repository. How many contracts are there? So one contract document, and I think the rest of them are mentioned as NDA. Let's keep going. If I do not want to see what you see on the right side, you can just enable the Copilot mode, and we can continue to go from here. What are the execution dates of these contracts given the table format? Okay, I'm going to type rest of the questions and let me specify. So I can continue to talk to the entire repository. It's not just looking at a single document, it's just looking at all the information here. So it tells me there's an agreement between NXA Tronics, there's a Tango Tech and ZMN, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to ask, there is some specific details for each of them. I'm going to just go ahead and speak that out loud. It's a longer sentence there. Hopefully it will capture all the information correctly. Do they have any critical issue listed in the mutual NDAs? Question mark. If so, give me a summary for each of the mutual NDAs. No, the question mark didn't show up very well, though. So here you go. We have a response now. Not specific critical issues, but here is a summary of the NDAs. So now I have each and every NDA, which is there in my repository. In this case, we have 3. You could have hundreds of the NDAs or contracts which are listed over there. And that'll give you all the information that you are specifically looking for. Any contract covering invalid or unenforceable loss. I haven't spelled unforeseeable correctly, though. Yes, the contract covers scenario of an invalid and unforeseeable clause according to contract if any provision is this. Additionally, it states if the provision is this and this, so on and so forth. So that's where the conversational AI capability with your repository comes in handy. So now if you're working on a particular contract with a particular client, you have the information that you can simply pick up. But if you want to find some information from the repository and you don't know where that is, you don't have to spend time in finding that. You can just get to that information. So once again, you have the analytics dashboard, you have your risk analysis that happens on a contract by contract basis. You have a conversational AI, which is available within each of these contracts, like so. And you also have the ability to get to the overall contract details from a repository perspective. And all of this is done through, a Botminds platform. And the last piece that I want to highlight here is the ability to integrate a variety of different applications on different sources here. So I'm just going to show the ingestion capability here. So you have multiple data sources where the information can be pulled from web or cloud or any other application. And once that is connected, we keep that connection live. You don't have to manually upload any information or connect to any specific thing again and again. If it is connected by an email, our platform will go ahead and gather all the information from there and leverage that to give you the contracts that you're looking for. Let's get back to the presentation now. Let's face it, contract risks can be overwhelming. But with our AI-powered solution, you no longer have to spend hours combing through complex documents. Our systems automatically scans and flags potential risks, so you know exactly where to focus. It's like having a risk detective working 24/7 for your legal team. And it doesn't stop there. We make sure you're always on top of compliance, helping you enhance your legal processes and stay aligned with industry standards. By cutting out the guesswork and catching issues early, you're able to reduce your legal exposure and protect your business from costly mistakes. In short, we help you work smarter, not harder. Now let's dive into the game-changing benefits of Botminds contract risk analysis. Your AI legal eagle. Imagine having a tireless, lightning-fast assistant that can spot risks quicker than your sharpest lawyer on their third espresso. That's what our AI-powered risk identification brings to the table. Tailor-made risk detection. In the legal world, one size fits all is a myth. Our customizable risk scoring models adapt to your industry's unique language and your company's specific needs. It's like having a risk detector custom built for your legal DNA. 24/7 Contract Guardian. Risks don't sleep, and neither does our system. With real-time risk monitoring, it's like having a vigilant guardian watching over your contracts around the clock, ready to alert you at the first sign of trouble. Mission control for contracts. Imagine the command center where you can oversee all your contract risks at a glance. Our centralized risk dashboard is exactly that. Your entire legal universe at your fingertips, enabling faster, smarter decisions. The always-on legal consultant. Need a quick answer about a contract risk? Our conversational AI is like having a brilliant legal mind on standby 24/7. Just ask and you shall receive instant, accurate insights. A workflow wizard. Legal processes can be complex as a labyrinth. Our customizable workflow automation turns these mazes into smooth highways, steering approvals, notifications, escalations to their right destinations without manual intervention. The ultimate team player. Our system doesn't just work alongside your existing tools, it becomes their new best friend. Seamlessly integrating with your current legal tech stack, it ensures your workflow remains uninterrupted and more efficient than ever. Growth without growing pains. As your business scales up, so does the volume of contracts. But with our scalable contract risk management, you can go from handling hundreds to thousands of contracts without breaking a sweat or your budget. Fort Knox for your contracts. In a world where data breaches make headlines, we offer peace of mind. Our advanced security and data privacy measures are like Fort Knox for your contracts, where top secret meets cutting edge secure, and all of that stays in your private cloud. As we all know, time is money, especially in the legal world. With Botminds AI, we are cutting contract review times by 80%, allowing your team to work faster and smarter. And it's not just about speed. Our AI delivers instant risk prioritization, so your team can zero in on what matters most right away. We also ensure 95% accuracy in identifying high-risk clauses, which means fewer mistakes and more peace of mind. That kind of consistency applied across your legal standards is game-changing. When it comes to proactive risk management, you get real-time monitorings and alerts. Our centralized dashboard gives you a complete at-a-glance view of all your risks so you never miss a beat. Security and scalability are built in. We offer advanced data security, full compliance, and a solution that grows with your business. And yes, for those concerned about deployment, we got you covered with a private cloud option to keep everything secure and in-house. In short, Botminds AI is about empowering legal teams to be proactive, accurate, and secure, giving you the tools to stay ahead in a competitive world. Now's the time to get ahead of contract risks with AI. Contact us today and see how Botminds can transform your legal operation. Thanks for watching.